Okay, good evening everybody, and welcome to the Halton Field Humanist Community and our monthly event meeting here. So thank you for finding us, thank you for making your way back from the front and finding out exactly where we are. I hope you're enjoying the beer and the food as such as it is. The beer is very good and the food is a little limited, but I've been enjoying it, so I hope you have too. So tonight we have very lucky, the Halton Field Humanist Community is very lucky to have our guest speaker, Sherif Ibrahim, to speak about the connections between evolution, God, and purpose. This will be the third time that Sherif has spoken with us. Previous talks were on immortality and evolution and happiness. Sherif was born and raised in Alexandria, Egypt. After practicing dentistry in Egypt for 13 years, he earned a master's degree from the Bible College, Toronto. But for the past 12 years, he's been out and proud as an atheist. So please join me in welcoming to the Halton Field Humanist Community, Sherif Ibrahim. How our evolving brains create God and purposes from a purposeless universe. Sherif.
Don't believe everything he said. Anyway, how are you everyone? I'm so glad to be here for the third time with you. I'd like actually to say that first of all, I need to appreciate two friends here like Cameron and George with their technical support. Please give them a hand. They did a lot of job to make this happen tonight. So, the second thing is, I'm not a scientist, neither evolutionist. I am just a man who loves reading and break down to people what I read. Period. I love what I'm doing, I love sharing. It always gives me satisfaction to share what I read with everybody, especially complexity like this one, what's happening now. So let's start it. One more thing before I start. I'm trying to break down everything. I'm going to give you just a headline here, but at the end of the presentation, I'm going to give you a suggestion to read 5 to 6 books. If you want to go deeper and deeper, so I have a suggestion for you at the end of the presentation. You can read a lot. We can read up to 100 books about that, and it's still not enough. However, I'm going to suggest 5 books you can read it to dig in this topic. Fair enough?
Excellent.
Okay, let's hit it. Well, this is how evolution creates God and purpose out of purposeless universe. First question is, in the beginning. In the beginning, everything has a beginning. So you believe that the universe has a beginning, scientifically speaking?
Probably.
Probably. Some say we have another universe, just came out of another universe and so on. That's what Nietzsche said, eternal recurrence. Some people believe in eternal recurrence. Some people said no, the universe has a beginning which is through the Big Bang. So I believe in the Big Bang in a way so far, at least 80% true, let alone 20% leave that on the side, you know. So where do the gods reside? That's the question, we need to answer that together. Where do the gods reside anyway? Can I approach you here? Can I make it close to you? Where do the gods reside?
In our consciousness.
In man's minds? In people's minds?
Yeah, what else? Right, no, okay. Here.
In our consciousness.
They're always here. Always in our brain. The brain actually creates everything. I want to show you how brain has created all of the things. So the God resides in our brain only. Now, we need evidence that what I'm talking to you about, scientifically speaking, we need evidence how scientists knew that the brain evolved. What kind of evolution the brain took place. So there should be evidence so people can believe what they believe in science. The first evidence is through the skull. Well preserved skulls. What does that mean? The skull actually, what is the brain located in our body? Where is the brain located in our body? In the skull. But the first thing it deteriorated after our death is the brain, the fastest one. So the skull remained there. the size of the skull, the furrows, the line in the skull, we can calculate through that the size of the brain of the disease. From there, we can understand the evolution of the brain took place in certain million and million of years through the skull. Tool made by Homo habilis. How many of you know about Homo habilis? Who is the hell Homo habilis anyway?
Our ancestors.
Who is he? Lawrence, you know? Who is Homo habilis?
Well, it's a related species that should have a small h instead of a capital H, and we probably share common ancestors.
Yes, correct. Now, that Homo habilis is the word habilis that means who has a skill in Latin word. That means the Homo that means has a skill. What he did is he started to have to shape the stone. That means he started with the tool. He started to have kind of cognitive abilities to understand that he needs to shape this tool. That means the brain started to get enlarged a little bit. Once the brain started to get enlarged, so it started to think differently. Post-mortem brain from human and primate. This is so important. That's another evidence showing us how the brain evolved. When we die, they dissect the brain of the chimpanzee and our Homo. What they found? They found a layer. What does layer show you? What does layer of the brain show you? Evolution, step on a time. That accumulated layer till we get to full size of the Homo sapiens and who we are, the Homo sapiens here. So that's the third evidence. First is the skull, second Homo habilis, third is the post-mortem brain and primates. MRI, fMRI, we could understand the white matter connected track that makes you human. Can you see this here?
At the very top. Yeah.
What? Oh. Okay, can you see this brain here?
Top.
Can you see those lines, the dark line that they track us? Those are, we call it actually white matter. White matter that make us human. Why? Because white matter is the brain that it connects between the brain cells. It gives you a fast transfer of information, very fast information. Okay, thanks. So this means of the brain that that's one, that's the white matter. The white matter will make us human. How it make us human? It collects information from neuron A to neuron B, from point A to point B of the brain, make fast information and exchange information of the brain.
What happened?
Okay.
First thing, cognitive development of the children. How many of you, I think most of you have kids, right? Have you noticed when they start to feed us in embryology means the formation of the fetus in the womb. That's called embryology. If you notice how the fetus is constructed, how it's formed, each stage teach you evolution. Each stage of the embryo teach you evolution, how we are, how we became, and how we were, and how we became now. So all of us evidence, practical evidence, show you that evolution of the brain is true, and that's how the evidence makes them true. So far so good? Any questions? Homo habilis. Now see this guy what he's doing? He's working with the stone. He's trying to shape stone for maybe killing predator, doing some stuff that, bigger brain. How long did he be there? 2.4 to 1.4 million years ago. Homo habilis diverged from the primate ancestor. Use tool. What use tool mean here? What impression give to you when I mentioned that Homo habilis use tools? Question. What impression I give you when I said Homo habilis use tools?
So they have.
I mean, he started to think. Yes, he used his hand. Excellent. Yes.
It causes neural pathways to be laid down.
Yes. So he started to use his hand, as Karen mentioned, and that means his brain started to get larger and more cognitive ability. more cognitive ability. So they start to use these two. Now we grow little by little. Smart. Larger brain 50% than his predecessor. Larger brain, yes.
But, like, I know that brain cells, like, alone, like, brain cells determine intelligence, but isn't another form of intelligence also the number of different pathways between each brain cells, like that also
As I mentioned in the previous slide, we have like white matter, which transfer information from brain cell A to brain cell B to exchange information and knowledge through white matter. And that makes us unique human.
Yeah.
It's not in the primate, this white matter anyway. Okay, smart cell, larger brain, 50% that criticize. A larger brain needs more layers. More layers that make it more cognitive ability. We move to another homo. Homo erectus. First appeared 1.8 million years ago. Larger brain than his predecessor. Larger brain than Homo habilis. Means to get larger brain, what to expect? Self-awareness. Here we go. Now we stop here a little bit. Self-awareness, what that means? Any clue? That guy got a larger brain than Homo habilis. So he started to get self-awareness to a lot of cells. These cells called BEN, that's short for bono-economic neuron. Bono-economic is the guy who discovered the neuron in the brain. Those kind of neuron is larger than the regular neuron in the brain. And they are responsible for self-awareness. I'm going to explain later on what self-awareness means. So self-awareness, bono-economic neuron started to develop with the guy because the larger brain. It took a larger brain to understand this. What is self-awareness? Who can answer this?
Think of this as a consciousness. We are aware of who we are.
Yes.
Usually we get this metaphysical ideas that we're connected to a superpower or something. It's coming from this aspect. But
Anybody
it's
else?
all about you know who you are. You know that you are human. You know what you're doing for the universe. You're not like an animal. It's
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anybody else? Yes.
I don't know how true this is. To what extent does theory of mind come into this that you can imagine so much different information from you? Or is that kind of a future step?
Yeah. Self-awareness. George, you want to say something?
You can think and make connections between what your observations.
Right. Right. Hmm?
It's when you do an action, you're aware of the consequences being connected with that action. And also, I think part of that is that if you're thinking about doing an action, you could also predict what the consequences are going to be.
Great. That's I'm going to explain to you step by step. Knowing that I exist, that's the first understanding of self-awareness. I exist. I'm here. This is me. The feeling that I am. The word the feeling that I am is always restricted on self-awareness. Other primate or less than primate do not feel their existence. They don't understand what I am mean. That's why it's uniqueness for the Homo erectus to understand that he is. I am. I exist. I feel it. Why? Because the brain starts to develop the one economic neuron I just described it now. The ability to become the object of our own attention. And anybody explain this to me? Yes?
I'm not sure, but when I see myself in the mirror, I know that it's me and another of me. I'm not sure.
Yeah. What else?
The ability to think of yourself from outside yourself as perceived by other beings.
Yeah. So when we say that the ability to become the object of our attention, I am the object and I take care of myself. I'm so attentive that I am here. I fully recognize that I'm alive. Feel myself. Why we have developed self-awareness? Why is the brain developed? Why evolution brings us to develop self-awareness? So we need to understand step by step so we come to the end of the session, we have full understanding about the total subject. First reason is it gives the brain more power to regulate our life. And why is that? When I have self-awareness through the brain enlargement, the brain gets control of my life. Right? It tells me what I have to do, why I have to do this, because I exist and I feel my own existence. So the brain dictates to me. I give him the power to tell me what I am, who I am, and how to regulate my life. That's the brain work. This inside machine, this meaty machine, is everything in our life. It's important for a higher through process, higher thought process. That's so important here. What that mean? What is high thought process? It's important for self-awareness. Any clue?
Critical thinking.
When I have self-awareness by myself, on myself, that means there is, yes, Richard.
I was thinking it's about an abstract thing, like objective, that to be able to pull yourself out of a situation and think objectively. And that self-awareness is a lot about separation from your environment, from other people, to say,
Perfect.
it's about separation, so
Perfect,
objectivity, and then ability to project in the future and in the past because of that ability to abstract.
Yes.
Okay.
Self-awareness means there is I. Right? And because there is I, so automatically there is you. Because there is Sherif, there is Cameron, there is George. That's so important to understand that self-awareness is not just me. Because I'm not alone in this universe. There is just me with us. There is Richard with me. That when I, there is between you. And because there is I and you, that means there is something about existence. You start to feel the I and you existence here. I want to explain that to you through my notes here. Do you remember Descartes' dictum? What Descartes said about this? I think, therefore, but in our situation now, most of the scholars said we need to reverse this dictum. I am, therefore I think. That's how it goes with evolution. I need to exist first. Then I have to think after. I'm going to show you later, maybe in a couple of minutes after, another kind of dictum with Jean-Paul Sartre and philosophy. Don't hate me. It's coming, going to be breakdown. Don't worry about it, sir. That's fine. So, since because there is I, there is you, but first I need to exist. Then I think about you. That's the point in the high thought here. The vision for Homo erectus Corporation people fire, all right, because once I know there's somebody else there, so we need to cooperate together. We need to set a fire. Because Homo erectus is the first one who set a fire, and he knew what so fire about. Never before that Homo knew about fire. The first time fire was Homo erectus. That's just by the way. So now, yes.
But there are other species even in the insects. They know that you have this correlation, and they like the ants, bees. I'm not talking about these small animals or species.
Speak up, man.
Also, if you talk about the chimpanzees, the elephants, and the dogs, any one of them can live in a community. We have this sense, I think, in a way or not. I'm not saying that they are aware of this, but this is all coming from our ancestors as animals, not Homo erectus or the our direct ancestors.
Yeah.
Is this coming only for us, or is it only for us? These characteristics. Is it for us only?
Okay.
Humans?
Yeah.
I don't think that's correct.
There's lots and lots of animals that have self-awareness, according to some the definition.
Very louder.
There are lots of animals that cooperate with each other. You've seen probably the documentaries of whales that cooperate in herding fish.
They do.
That's
Yeah.
You see wolves that cooperate with each other.
Yeah, they do.
Brain,
And they don't have self-awareness in a way. Yeah, they don't.
But I think they do.
Yeah,
How do you
but
know
in
that
our
they
case
don't have
here,
it?
but our case, it helped to more cooperation. That means you and me are together, so we need to fight.
There may be quantitative differences between primates and wolves or whales or
Yeah.
whatever, but they're not qualitative differences. They all have self-awareness of various sorts. Even bees can dance to each other to tell you how to get to the flowers. That's a clear example of bees knowing who they are and how they communicate with their hive and go here to get the flowers. That's all a form of
Yes,
self-awareness.
yeah, you're right, Lawrence. What I'm trying to say is self-awareness and these things that was mentioned to you make those Homo erectus to get more cooperation about I and you. That the dolphin and all of this whale, they don't have I and you. They cooperate, yes, but not on that level. It's different.
Half the matter is genetic, but I really think that typical chimpanzee knows the difference.
Yeah, they do cooperate, but not like
between
us.
I and you.
Yeah, not like the Homo. It's a way different, you know.
But how would you know, Sherif? Can you measure this? Is this tangible? Is this something that you can measure that they don't have this self-awareness in the animals? Like, how would you know? I didn't talk to a chimpanzee, so I don't understand the language. Probably they have some sort of they know their identity.
Yes,
That's
they
what
do.
I'm saying.
Yeah. There is no language, but they do cooperate together, like Lawrence had mentioned now. But with the Homo erectus, the brain is different. It's not just about the size of the brain, as you know that. It's the complexity of the brain that makes us different and make us actually understand the cooperation together is different than other animals. The Homo sapien troublemaker. Full self-awareness. In Homo erectus, self-awareness like a part-time, if you allow me to say this expression. Where this Homo sapiens, and of course you know what the sapien mean. Who knows what the sapien mean anyway? What Homo sapien mean?
Thinker.
Standing up on two fruits.
No, not the one Homo erectus. Homo sapien, that means the wise. The wise man. The wise man. Homo sapien. Sapien means the Greek, Latin word of wise. That means has full self-awareness. See how gradually we walk together here? Ah, look at that. Empathetic cells, mirror neuron. What is empathy? What is an empathy? What's the difference between empathy and sympathy?
Empathy is you feel the other's feeling.
To sympathize, okay, sorry for you. But to empathize, I totally feel in you. I put myself in your place. How the brain could evolve with this? Mirror neurons. That's another kind of neurons in the brain because that mirror, because it mirrors the feeling of the other side. Mirror neurons, it mirrors the feeling of the other side. For example, why when we see people crying, we tend to cry too? Why when we see someone actually gets hurt, oh, I'm sorry for you, just let me help you. I'm feeling so sorry, I'm really sorry. Why is this happening? There is no external of our planet or somebody else coming or immaterial stuff. None of these things already. What's happening is they discover in our brain a neuron called mirror, which mirrors the feeling of somebody else, the need of somebody else, the hurt of somebody else, and we act accordingly. That's why we have this actually been formed with this Homo sapien growth of the brain. That's empathetic. Let's move on. Theory of mind. Here we go. Now make sure that we're going to highlight this. We're going to take some time to explain what theory of mind means. When I start to empathize with someone, to feel him, that means I start to understand that how does someone think of me? Theory of mind is about who someone reading the mind. Reading somebody else's mind. This is theory of mind meaning. let's say, let me explain that to you for further detail. Basically, it's mind reading. As said, that's theory of mind. For example, when our brain gets evolved and get full capacity, human as a Homo sapien, 1.5 kilograms, that's our brain size and weight now, 1.5 kilograms. We have a lot of connection and complexity, a lot of neuron develops. So we start to think, somebody else, how does somebody else think of me? How can I know that? Homo sapiens starts to take care of himself, herself, put ornament, perfume, comb the hair. Why? Because he needs to know what others think of him, how others are going to look at him. This is theory of mind, basically. How many of you have visited a zoo? All of us have visited a zoo. And I believe that you enjoy watching the chimp over there. What the chimp was doing, actually, they're doing their job. They're actually laughing, kicking, pee, poo, having sex, and you are watching. And they know that you're watching them. Did they stop? Did they think, oh, how can I have sex if those people are watching me? They don't have this, not because they don't care, but because they don't have the capacity to care. They don't have the capacity of...
Because they were not brought up to think that sex is bad and therefore should be hidden.
Yeah, go ahead, Ron. So I have something to say. You have something to say?
Yes, you're opposing your views on chimps. You know, it's our culture that has taught us to think, oh my God, sex can only occur secretly in bedrooms. And chimps don't give a F about that.
That's correct. But
That's why they don't care.
That's
It's
why
not
they
because
don't.
they're not self-aware.
That's why they don't care.
And sometimes they know, hey, we get a real reaction from this outside.
You're right. The reason is
And you see all kinds of videos of chimps coming and conversing with humans at the cages and the glass one, sympathizing with the woman who's got the baby. But they're really self-aware.
Yes.
They're really self-aware.
And-
They're empathetic. They're sympathetic. They're fairly intelligent.
Yes, they are. They are. But they don't have our capacity of mind reading. They don't have this. They don't have this. That distinguishes us as.
I think they do have that capacity of mind reading. What you're arguing is that perhaps we can do it better. Okay?
Yes.
It's not that we're the only organism that has it. That's just not true.
But that's actually what primatology is with the evolution of that I found out the last decades, and they could be wrong, but it was happening now in science, you know. So that means that just mind reading, that's the most important thing about theory of mind. Where is the seat of theory of mind free? And this is right here, they call it anterior paracingulate cortex. This is what the brain starts to form theory of mind, biologically speaking. This is where it is. The evolved cognitive capacity, psychology, categorization, for human brain. What does that mean here? At that point, our brain starts to create God and religion. At that point only, our brain starts to create God and religion as specialization of the brain and cognitive capacity. Let me say something more. How come that the theory of mind created God and religion? How it came like this? Now I'm walking with you step by step now. Theory of mind, we already know that they're reading the mind of somebody else. So the Homo sapien, with his growth of theory of mind, empathy, and all of the things I explained to you earlier, imagine there's somebody else watching him. And this somebody else is not among us. And he's reading the mind, like we read his mind too. We're trying to understand what God is thinking about us now. The same way that what He's thinking about us, we think about Him. So mind reading has to do with creation, religion, and God according to this idea. What we think about at some point is invisible, and what is invisible is thinking about us. It's mutual. So that's the theory of mind, how it started to create God. God was born of theory of mind. Please make sure that you have this point. George is watching me. Good. George is just in front of me here. He's watching me now. He hate me, I know, so no problem. But at the same time, somebody else that is not George, it's not Richard, it's not Caleb, somebody else, I haven't seen him, I imagine that he's watching me. For other reason I'm going to describe just in a few. So God was born in theory of mind. What are the benefits of theory of mind according to those believing in God? First, God has read our mind and know our deepest thought. That makes the believer comfortable. He knows my thought. He knows in my deeper area my thought. So why not create Him in my mind and believe in the things? That make millions of people comfortable about this idea and cooling off. Second thing about God, I'm useful in explaining the unknown future of life. What Dawkins said about this, the God of the gap. You believe in it? How many of you have heard this God of the gaps? Excellent, good job. That means everything I don't understand it, I have to link it with whom? I have related this to God because we don't understand it. And then the second step, science discovers something new. So who's God on the side now? You don't understand this? Oh, God knows that. So that's why I'm thinking when God and this were explaining in the past, before science, thunder, lightning was God angry. Is that correct? We don't say that anymore. Sickness was God anger against you. We don't say that anymore. Because we understand, we believe in science. We are full mind of science. We don't care about what the other side think about that. How our brain believes in illusion. That's fun stuff here. Our brain believes in engine, in pattern recognition machine, connects the God. Can you read this for me? Who can read that for me? Go ahead, Rich.
Sure. Our brains are belief engines, evolved pattern recognition machines that connect the dots and create meaning out of patterns that we think we see in nature.
Okay, let me give an example here. Imagine a couple of hominid were cruising the Savannah a couple of million years back, and having a wee chin wag, like a little talk on the side. And all of a sudden, they heard the grass rustling. What's going to happen? What going to say about this rustling of the grass? What do you think they're going to tell? What do you think about the grass is rustling? Give you two options, whether that's from the wind or from a predator coming soon. So they start to connect the dot. So if it is from the wind, okay, they're safe, they keep moving on. But if they calculate it wrong, except from the wind, and it happened that as a predator, good luck, they became a lunch for it. Right? What's happening is that they start to connect the dots, the pattern. So we believe in pattern. Our brain starts to get evolved to believe in pattern. This pattern believes that something happened for a reason. And I'm going to show you that in a few. And this pattern that leads them that someone is supernatural is connecting the dot for our welfare, for our benefit. Dopamine. How many of you know this dopamine? Good. Dopamine actually is a neurotransmitter in the brain found in 3 areas of the brain. 2 of them is substantia nigra and hippocampus, and the third one I just don't remember where it is. It's so important for benefits. If you have an idea about dopamine, can you explain to me what dopamine does? in our life? Come on, guys, just look at me. What are you talking about?
Yes, instant positive reinforcement and
Hmm?
create instant positive reinforcement and can create addiction.
The reward hormone
Lawrence, you have something to say, right?
really helps if you have Parkinson's.
Excuse me?
Okay.
L-dopa is the treatment for
First, think about dopamine.
Okay.
The good side is for pleasure and reward. For pleasure and reward. It's a pleasure, physical pleasure. And then it's reward. That means I like it, do it again. It's rewarding me. I like it, do it again. The downside of it is an addiction. It may cause addiction. That's like crime, drugs, pornography, you name it. Religions, total religious stuff, suicide bomber, all of yes.
I gotta push back against suicide bombers. I don't think you can become addicted to being a suicide bomber.
Okay, that's a good point, Cameron. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let me explain that to you.
You can be a
Suicide
failed
bomber
suicide
find
bomber.
pleasure and reward that he's gonna kill himself, he's killing others, something good gonna happen to him after.
Yeah, he's waiting for that.
How we gonna get this? Dopamine encourage him, push him to do this, because it's a pleasure and rewarding neurotransmitter.
Cameron is referring to a failed suicide bomber, not a successful.
Yeah, I know. Yes, Linda.
But it's not the suicide bomber that is addictive. If someone is like volunteering, they say, I'll do it. Before they do it, their community gives them prestige. And it's the prestige over it's like the prestige they get
Yeah.
before they do the act.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, becoming a Shahi. It's like, oh, he's gonna become a Shahi, you know, and then of course they treat them all good, and that in itself is its own addiction, that
It's a good
kind
point. A
of
good
feeding
point.
the ego.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. So that the dopamine is linked with belief. How scientists, two British scientists actually in the United Kingdom, has found that when you inject a little bit of dopamine or L-dopa, they call it somehow, those who are skeptical become less skeptical for some reason when extra dopamine are in the body. Why? Because they start to think about something pleasant, something easy to go. So they get less. This is actually an observation. Not that never mean it's 100% right or true, but what that actually happened with a couple of scientists in the United Kingdom found out that it had linked with the belief. So when you inject with this, when we inject that with this, more we get less skeptical, and those actually believe will get more.
But try LSD, it works even better.
Yeah. But that,
Try LSD, it works even better.
why?
You forget it.
Try LSD.
It's a good point, though. We're gonna have to have discussion after the thing.
No, my point is any excess mind altering
We
drug
have,
will do the
yeah,
same
there
thing.
is a lot of reading.
Dopamine is a natural drug.
There is a lot of reading about these topics. I'm going to show you what books you can read if you get. At the end, the last slide, we're going to give you a lot of books to read about here. God is hardwired in our brain. The automatic pattern that explains everything that happens everywhere and every time according to this belief. The sense of being spared out. How many of you in their walk of life feel that somebody is staring at them? You don't feel that? You never feel that? Sometimes somebody's just staring at you while in the street, in the traffic light, at home. Sometimes it happens to us. We cannot deny the fact. Maybe it happens once in a while, but it does happen sometimes. Why it's happening? Because we feel that there is somebody's watching us. Somebody's watching us. That you actually believe as well. Creating purpose out of that is the second part. So we came to the point that our brain evolution leads us to God and religion. That's not enough. We We need to create a purpose for our life. Somebody said, a couple of months back, a client came to my office to sign an offer. While he started to pick up the pen and he started to sign, he just dropped the pen and stopped. I hate it when he stopped signing. Come on, man, sign the offer. What you waiting for? He said, Sherif, I have a question for you. So it just popped up in my mind. I have a technical question about real estate things. But it wasn't that. The question was, what's the purpose of life? What's the meaning of my life? Really? And this is the time and the spot when asking me about this question, man. We are not signing the offer. What, you're going to ask me the question about your meaning of life or what? So I took a deep breath, self-control first, making sure that he heard me properly. I told him, look, you create this meaning. There is no meaning of life. There's no purpose of that. You did it. And you will be doing till your last breath. That's the meaning of life. The meaning of life you're doing now because you're going to sign the offer. I said, how? I said, because you're going to sign the offer, you're going to have a house in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. So that means you're going to have a nice family, big family, lots of house. You're going to create another meaning. So the offer is the meaning of life now, and sign it. Period. You know, he did sign, of course. I won't leave him alone, you know. So, but the idea is that all of a sudden he dropped the pen and he asked this very convenient, very common questions. What is the meaning of my life? What's the purpose?
Still asking that question.
When someone asks you the question, know that someone has no clue what he's saying when he said the meaning of life. There is no meaning of life. You do your meaning in your own way. If you have good cognitive capacity, you create this meaning. Period. If you don't have cognitive capacity, how on earth can you create anything? So this is actually the first about our brain have a mighty tendency. Parallel we love to get meaning, parallel meaning of noise. What is meaning? What does that mean? Let's say this cup is in here. Oh, why itself should have a meaning with this? We always imagine that something there has a meaning. It's almost about us.
Apart from the crowd.
Someone actually dropped a can on the floor. I think God has a purpose for this. What? Why? How? That's the meaning of this sentence here. In a noisy life, we start to extract meaning out of it so we can survive. Because our brain is broad enough and a lot of complexity, a lot of neurons, so we start to think about these things. We got to fulfill the purpose. In order to create meaning, we need a super being to give you something to push you this meaning on. Here are the things. I want to tell you something. Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Isn't it kind of like a form of pareidolia?
Seeing faces.
Like,
Pareidolia is seeing faces where
No,
there's.
it's like a form of emotional pareidolia. Like, you know how people look for patterns in clouds, so emotionally we're trying to look for patterns in our life, so it's like an emotional form of pareidolia.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's different here. Yeah, I got you. When we believe that we have a higher plan, the universe has a higher plan for us. When we believe that somebody has a higher plan for us, why we believe in this? Because we need to feel safe. We need to feel that we matter, our life matters. Our life is important to us. So we need to create meaning or create a purpose. The universe has a plan for us. You think that the universe has a plan? What is the universe anyway? Any clue? What is the universe? Galaxies, stars, Earth, planet, stones. And He doesn't care about us. Why he doesn't care about us? Because we just universe moving around. Accidentally we came to life. Big Bang, boom, neutron, proton, photon, all of this quantum particle came up, reorganized again, galaxies, planets, stars made up, accidentally Earth happened in life. And then happened that those particles create neural system in us. Boom, meaning out of our neural system, nothing more. We need to feel that our life matters. Because if you don't feel that our life matters, to what it matters? Why it matters? Because the life doesn't matter to you. If you don't feel that you are important and your life really matters to you or to somebody else, so why you live? That's why we create purpose. Not life and purpose. No. But why not? Why not?
Why not's the wrong question.
Hmm?
Why not is the wrong question.
Yeah, so why not? Why life doesn't have purpose?
Why? Well, the right question would be why would there be a purpose, right?
Yeah. Anybody else? If we say life has a purpose, that means there is someone is supernatural, created this purpose to us. We are in his mind. That purpose came from. But is that true?
In this sense, no.
Yes,
We
Dennis.
can have a lower purpose, survival.
Hmm?
You know, like is about survival. You know, that's the lower purpose, it's the one purpose, but
Yes. Yeah. I'm saying if the universe and life has purpose, so all what in my mind is somebody else in his mind will create this purpose. He created the purpose for us. Somebody supernatural for us. He created the purpose for us. Automatically. If you say the universe has purpose, you create the universe. You came before the universe? No. We are part of the universe. We came after the Big Bang. So when you say there is a purpose for the universe, for life in general, that means somebody else, supernatural, has us in his mind to create purpose for us. That's the point. Now come philosophy. Existence or the essence, which come first? Which come first, existence or essence?
Existence.
Hmm?
Existence.
Correct.
What do you mean by essence?
Because if we say essence come first, that means we exist before we came on earth. That someone give us this essence. Jean-Paul Sartre, how many of you heard about philosopher, French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre?
Who?
Good. He said that existence precedes essence.
What do you mean by essence?
That's a good question, but let me finish this here. Essence is your being, the deeper, the mind, the being of your existence. That means not just physical existence, the mind of existence, the spirit of existence, the mindset said. So, Jean-Paul Sartre said existence precedes essence. Guess who fired back? The church. Of course, they have to fire back because that doesn't work with them like this. They always work with the essence, that someone actually creates the essence, creates a plan for us, and then he created us physically. That's the point why the church fired back. Purpose is fundamental for the material. Richard, can you read this for me, please? Can you read this?
Sure. Purpose is fundamentally a product of material stuff, chemical neurotransmitters, that is shaped by unguided natural selection.
What does that mean? Take your time, no rush. You can spend the night here together, don't worry.
As stated, it seems to imply that there is a purpose, it's just a emergent property of matter.
So purpose is being created by chemical enzymes of our brain. We created that. The rearrangement of our neurons in the brain starts to create the purpose. Nothing outside. Everything through evolutionary steps. That's the meaning here. Now, before coming to this, one second, please. I need to revise something here. Yeah. Let me summarize what I've shared with you earlier. First, evolution of the brain. Second, the self-awareness. And then, theory of mind. And understand how theory of mind which that I believe develops. Schopenhauer, one of the major German philosophers, when he said, if there is no God, that means life has no meaning. Is that correct? I think Schopenhauer said that, yeah. Now, his brilliant student, Nietzsche, said, hey, hold on. He fired back to Schopenhauer and said, hold on, Schopenhauer, that's not true. If there is no God, that means we have a lot of purpose we created by ourselves, and you can soar like an eagle, unlimited resources, nothing, unlimited sky for our creativity. Nothing will stop us. That was Nietzsche against Schopenhauer. Which one do you think is almost close to reality? Schopenhauer or Nietzsche?
There are very few philosophers that are close to reality.
Right on. Think about it, guys. Schopenhauer said, Schopenhauer never believed in God, but he was very pessimistic guy. Very, very bluish, you know. So he said, there is no God, love has no meaning, no purpose. Nietzsche fired back, said, no, that's wrong. There is no God, there is unlimited creativity. Nothing will stop us. We create our own purposes. Which one is more real here?
I think they're using different definitions of purpose and they do both of them.
Most of the scientists and philosophers for today take Nietzsche's side. If you don't create your own life, your own meaning, your own purpose, nobody will do that for you. Nobody ever will do that for you.
Religion. Most scientists don't care about that discussion.
What for us?
Most scientists just don't care about that discussion.
You're a scientist, I
Discussing
think.
whether life has purpose is just irrelevant to most of us who are scientists.
Yeah. But again, science can explain many things, but not everything. So we're trying to understand what's going on, you know.
I thought scientists were human.
The whole idea.
So I don't understand that. They don't care about purpose. They don't give a damn about meaning.
They don't care about the philosophical meaning of
Yeah.
purpose. No.
All the philosophical.
Yes.
But in their own lives?
Okay, let me finish this.
Depends what you want to call it. Do we have a goal in life? Yeah, stay alive.
Yes. Yeah, that's a goal by itself.
But
You're
is
right.
that some mystical purpose? I can assure you that most scientists think that that's just bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. But now because we understand that the purpose, we understand that meaningless, meaningful life, and people said, okay, how am I going to live my life now? If there is no purpose in life, no meaning in life, how can I live meaningful life? At some point, guided by Ralph Close, a Canadian psychiatrist at UFT. That I quote from Ralph Close, really says, secular humanism is a philosophy that derives meaning through societal ethics and compassion, achieved solely through human action and through natural, not supernatural world. You got this statement? How many of you got this statement here?
Agree with it?
You got it? Who understands this?
Reasonably.
Can you explain that to me? Because you raise your hand.
Yeah. Like understanding what the sentence means. As explain it, yeah, I understand what it means, but to explain it, that's another bit.
Can you be louder?
I think it's pretty simple. I think it's that we create our own meaning.
Correct.
We create our own meaning in the context of other humans in our society and our interactions with them.
Correct. Yes. Third thing is we cannot choose or control many of the events, but we can choose how to respond. That's one of the books that I like you to read it. It's about from Viktor Frankl. Have you heard about this guy? George, you heard about this guy, right?
No, that's not his name. I don't know.
Yeah. This guy actually was Jewish German psychiatrist who endured the concentration camps of the Nazis. And he could escape the state after World War II. It's finished. He wrote a nice book, how he could endure that, how he could suffer, and what is the meaning of life from suffering, how you can make an understanding about this suffering. It's a good book to read, by the way. The book is Man's Search for Meaning. You can jot it down, so it's in it's sort of library in a way. So we can choose, or we cannot choose or control. We can control or choose to follow the law, follow regulation. But what about imperfection? What about problem? What about disaster? We cannot choose that. So we need to have this understanding. We cannot choose to control everything, because we cannot control everything. Making good out of bad. Let's say a real trouble happened to somebody, or a deep cancer stuff, or kind of ailment, or thing like this. Let's say that happened. A big trouble happened to someone. We don't actually keep picking on, oh, big trouble, you're in trouble. We don't do that. We need to find meaning. Why this trouble? Out of this trouble, find a meaning for a better life. People have cancer. Cancer is the second reason for death around the globe after heart attack. We know that. Heart attack, cancer, big trouble, business trouble, financial trouble, you name it, a lot of uncontrollable stuff. How we create something good out of this bad stuff? That means have meaning in your life. We don't actually say, I'm helpless, everything blues me, and then you sit like this. You can do that. You might need help, you might seek a psychological help, that's fine, but you need to get over it and create meaning for that. We don't just sit around and keep weeping at the set, you know. So make good thing out of bad. Accept the limit of control. How much control can we control our life? Any answer?
That varies.
What's Khalid?
It varies, it depends who you are, what's your rank in the society.
There are things could be controlled, yeah, like I said, I
There are
mentioned
things
earlier.
that you
But not everything.
control. Yeah.
Such as, come on, God, with me.
Be a good guy with no reason.
What?
Death, for example. Death will
Yes.
control us.
Things are uncontrollable. Many things. What about disaster? We cannot control disaster. Imperfection. Perfection is not there. There's no perfection here. We don't understand what even perfection means. What does that mean? Can you explain to me what perfection means?
The perfection is everything going exactly the way you want it to go,
Which is never happened.
which is never going to happen. No.
So the perfection is not there.
The Stoics say we can only control our thoughts and our actions. That's
Yes.
it. Nothing else.
Yes, in certain limit as well. Not unleash control. So the last thing is how to deal with mortality. We know that the worst thing happened to our life is death. We know that. No one loves it. No one likes it.
Why?
How to deal with it?
Why? Nobody like it.
What?
It's for me, it's not a problem. Maybe it's for my
Not yet.
friends. No, I'm not saying I don't want. I'm not saying that I want to die now. But if
And-
you're dead, you don't feel it. Don't feel
Yes. Okay, but again, bottom line, end of life is not romantic.
It's the end of life.
It's not something good, isn't it? So how can deal with this? Come on, guys, work with me.
There's a lot of ways, and I think everyone has to deal
Go
with
ahead,
it.
yeah.
Everyone has to deal with it in their own way.
So,
First of all, mortality should not lead us to desperation. No. All the way around, it should lead us to improve our life, to create meanings. We don't need to think about death then. We need to think how to improve our life. How long do you think the average person can live here? 80 years old? 85? And we know there is going to be an end at the end of the day. Between now till this end, what we're going to do in our life? Keep thinking about death? No, we have better things to think about it. So mortality should not desperate us, should not frustrate our life. Oh, I'm going to die someday. Even the leaf drop and fall from the tree and die. How much more us? So the thing is that improving our life, moving away from the idea of that killing us each day, that we're going to die someday, get better life, get engaged with people, do something meaningful for your community, things like this, that will help you to get away from the bad issue of mortality. So those four, there is a lot of course points here, create meaningful life out of meaningless universe. Okay? So, as I promised you, the books that I recommend to read, there are hundreds of books, but those are nailed down for you guys. You can take a picture or write down, but all of those books are in the Minnesota libraries, by the way. You can order them online or Amazon if you want to buy, if you have some money in the pocket, don't need them. So you can order that from the Amazon.
We can also share this around on the meetup and on Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll do that.
yeah.
Sherif, I have a question now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go next to the answer on the mic.
No, I need to read it properly.
Okay. So, what's the title of your talk?
Like that?
What was the title of your talk?
The title here?
No, of your talk.
Yeah, I just mentioned the first slide.
What's that? The title of your talk talked about evolution, didn't it?
How our evolved brain created God and
How the
purpose
evolved
out of
brain,
purpose
okay. But you're not claiming that evolution had belief in God, or is belief in God is a property that helps evolution or hinders evolution, are you?
Yeah, evolution had to do with that. The brain growth, the complexity of
But
the neuron.
so belief in God is a side effect of all these things.
It's a byproduct.
It's a byproduct, okay.
Yeah.
But it has no causal relationship, that's all.
No, it
Okay.
just grows brain stuff.
Okay, so that's all I'm saying is that it should be clear that what you're saying is that there is no evolutionary advantage or disadvantage to believe in God. It's simply the byproduct of the growing brain. Okay?
Correct.
That's all.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point because some people think that
I'm going to sit down now and you
Yeah, sit, bro.
Well, let's give before you sit down, Sherif, let's give a proper send off. Thank you very much.